All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. And in this video, Terence Crawford should be fighting Canelo Alvarez, but Canelo Alvarez gets a warning from a former foe of Terence Crawford, who claims that he was cheated in a fight by Terence Crawford. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're gonna be, I don't know what weight classes we're gonna be in. I guess it's the 168-pound weight division where Terence Crawford should be fighting Canelo Alvarez sometime this year. Canelo has a fight. I do believe he has a fight in Saudi Arabia on May 4th. So probably around the September timeframe, Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford are expected to fight in. I do believe they're going to fight in Saudi Arabia, but it will definitely be with Turki Al-Sheikh. However, there's been a past opponent of Terence Crawford that's speaking out, and that is David Avanesyan. And he's speaking out because he believed that he had been cheated against Terence Crawford. And he lays out some new information about what he said happened that made him believe this. And obviously, if you've seen the fight, you know that it is kind of valid. But anyway, before I get into it, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate your support. I've been on this channel. I've been talking a lot lately about kind of cheating in boxing and the type of things that people are saying that are going on in boxing that are kind of where people are putting their fingers on the scales and getting advantages that they otherwise shouldn't have. Well, there was an incident that took place a few years ago that is now coming back into the forefront because David Avanesyan gave an interview to a magazine called gave an interview to a magazine. And in the interview that he gave to the magazine, he talked about Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford fighting, but he was asked about what happened with him and Terence Crawford when they fought. If you recall, Terence Crawford, in between the fight, before the fight that he had with Errol Spence, took a tune-up fight kind of out of the blue that nobody knew that he was talking about, that he was even considering doing. Jumps out and fights David Avanesyan on a channel called BLK Prime. He fights him in BLK Prime on BLK Prime in Nebraska. And David Avanesyan said that he believed that he was cheated in that fight. If you don't remember what happened, in the last round of the fight, Terence Crawford's gloves, you could see that Terence Crawford's gloves started coming open. And there started being padding flying around the ring. And the referee stopped the fight, walked to Terence, checked his gloves. It was clear that the gloves were busted. And the referee allowed Terence Crawford to continue to fight. But when Terence Crawford came out, he just immediately knocked out David Avanesyan, and it didn't get to the second round. Well, David Avanesyan is now saying something else, and he's saying that he felt that he was cheated, and he said that there was something that funny had happened with Bud. He said that Bud actually came to the ring with his gloves open. Said that he had never seen a fighter come to the ring with their gloves literally still open, not tied with tape. That's what David Avanesyan is saying. Now, I can't attest to it because I haven't seen it on the videotape, and it's not something that I had noticed during the fight itself. But basically what he's saying is that he did not even have his gloves tied when he walked into the ring. And then he was also dealing with the fact that his gloves were exploding. Now, because go back to the time, Bernie the Boxer, who's on Terence Crawford's team, had said that there were some problems with the gloves, both sets of his gloves in the locker room when he was coming out. Any way you go, that's kind of funny business that David Avanesyan that really should have been addressed. Now, I want to say that obviously it is years later. Everybody saw it when it happened, to the extent that they were watching the fight on BLK Prime, because it was on BLK Prime. So, not a lot of people were watching it. But this is something that is, that was older, something that's happened a while ago. So why would I waste my time, or waste your time talking about it? Because you'll see the very different ways that these type of cheating allegations get handled, depending on who's doing the accusing and who's being accused, right? Now, clearly, Gervonta Davis had taken a knee in a fight with Lamont Roach. In that fight with Lamont Roach, the referee could have called it a knockdown. Gervonta Davis turned his back and looked like he got his face wiped by Calvin Ford in the corner. And so people said he should be disqualified. Well, the same thing essentially happened with Terence Crawford, where Terence Crawford had his glove exploding, and then the referee allowed to continue him to fight, and then he hit he hit David Avanesyan with gloves that are clearly defective, and the referee allowed him to continue. When I and other people made a big to-do about that at the time, nobody was really trying to hear it. But when the situation happened with Gervonta Davis, they want disqualifications. They're submitting paperwork to the New York State Athletic Commission, right? Terence Crawford himself said that's a DQ. He messed that guy over. Well, Terence, wasn't it a DQ when you hit that guy with busted gloves? Anyway, a lot of funny business in boxing, man. A lot of funny business in boxing. This is just one example of major funny business in boxing. But as far as it relates to the Canelo Alvarez fight, I don't really think it's going to mean much, because Canelo Alvarez Canelo Alvarez has not had his fair share of accusations floating around things that he was doing, right? So I've looked at Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford, in the workouts for the fight, he looks really, really big. He looks bloated, in fact. Strong, you can definitely see his abs, but still looks a little bit bloated. I think it's going to be wild to see what Terence Crawford can do, weighing 170 pounds against a guy like that. But at the end of the day, it's boxing is boxing. Don't cry over spilled milk for too long. I'm glad that Terence Crawford was not disqualified. Obviously, he wasn't going to be disqualified because it was in Nebraska. But I'm glad that he didn't disqualify it. He moved on to fight Errol, and now we get to see the Canelo fight. I feel the same way about Gervonta Davis and him not being suspended, or him not being DQ'd or whatever they were asking for, so they can just come on and do the rematch. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.